Hello, I'm Robin and I'm a normal alcoholic. Do I still think about drinking? Well, the short answer is yes, of course I do. I kind of have to think about drinking, not to control my drinking, but in making this channel, I think about it an awful lot. I think about what information might help other people. But also with I've mentioned this before, it's my training to become a counsellor. There's a lot of introspection about my own personal history, my past events that led me to here. So yeah, I do a lot of thinking about drink and drinking. But that doesn't mean that I want a drink. Now, I think my main message for this video is that in sobriety, the way you think about drink and drinking changes over time. It's very different for your first few days as it is for the following weeks, months later, or years later. You go through phases. You might have a couple of days or weeks or months where you think about it in a certain way. But that's the way our brains work. We have to think about things to process them, to get over them, through them, whatever you want to call it. So, typically someone in their early days is just going to be dying to have that drink. They're like, I've spent 2 days, one day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, haven't had a drink. They just want to go back to that drinking, that comfort zone, or whatever it is that you have a drink to release from or escape from. Those early days are the hardest. They're the ones where if you walk into the shop and you see the bottle, you're dying to go over and grab it. Tins, bottles, mixers, whatever your tipple is, you're dying for it. But the urges do gradually, slowly fade. It's just time with everything. Then as it goes on, I've mentioned it so many times, you get a bit of confidence and you're like, life's going well. Why can't I just drink again? Why can't I do it? Why? You've lost something that's really important to you. It's like grief. You're losing a friend. You see one of those adverts, or you walk past a pub and you want to be one of those people inside because you spent so much time in that environment doing that. You miss it. You have a longing for it. You're in a new world which is uncomfortable and it's not the same. Some parts of your mind might be telling you that the old ways were better. You had more fun, you were more sociable, you were more funny, you were more outgoing, gregarious, whatever it is, you could chat up the girls better. You want that back. Then you start to have moments in life where you're like, I've just done this and it was good. I enjoyed that and I appreciated it. I was me, I was myself, I was present. I got to experience that properly without a drunken haze around it, without a blurry morning after, without blackouts, without lost memories, without making a fool of yourself. And those moments, those memories, those experiences are the ones that build up over time, and eventually you get to kind of where I am now, where I appreciate the life that I have now sober. So it doesn't matter if I go out to a restaurant, a pub, a party, a meal, whatever it is. If I go out and I see other people drinking, of course I remember those days. Of course I would like it if I could go back to that. But enough of my experience and knowledge now completely outweighs it. You know, it used to take me a moment. I'd see something or think of something, and I'd have to take a minute to process it in my head and think, okay, yes, I'd like to do that. But if I do that, I'll end up on a binge. And then things will get out of hand. It will go downhill, and I'll end up back where I was, physically dependent, in a horrible state of mind, needing a detox or a rehab or something, medical assistance, just the worst stuff. I had to play it forward. And I had to think about where it would go to then go, no, I don't want to drink. But now it's like instantaneous. It's like it went from being a long thought process to being a no, like a quick. But now it's like just doesn't happen at all. I can see people having fun with a drink, and I can just go, I appreciate having a good time. It's just not for me. It's like my thought process has become part of my subconscious. It's become part of me. And now it's just my natural state of mind. Obviously, if you saw my last video, I talked about relapse and the things that can make us drink. And I spoke about how the experience with my cat that he's had recently was really tough. And some of those old underlying thoughts were screaming at me saying, have a drink. But I knew I wasn't going to have a drink. I knew I was going to get through it. But this leads me on to one thing I wanted to talk about, and it's drinking dreams. Now, you have them a lot more in your early days. I used to have them once, twice, 3 times a week. Now they just pop up every now and then. I'll have a dream, and a whole range of circumstances. For some reason, I'll be in a dream and I'll find myself having a drink. Sometimes it's just a quiet one. Sometimes it's a all-out rager. But in that dream, I then remember that I'm not supposed to be having a drink. And the dream suddenly becomes a nightmare, because then I get racked with guilt and shame and fear, thinking, oh my God, how am I gonna cover this up? Are people gonna find out about this? Have I lost my 2.5 years sobriety? Is it all for nothing? Is it down the drain? Am I gonna have to restart my counseling course? All this stuff, it just goes, oh, and it is horrible. It is really, really, really horrible. And thankfully, when I wake up, oh, the relief that didn't happen. So like, yeah. So I must be thinking about drink. I know, I already told you, I think about drink a lot for it to come up in my dreams. It's still there somewhere. But in terms of my everyday life, although yes, I have to think about drink for the program, for the channel. I have to think about it when I'm doing my counseling course. But I don't ever get to the point of wanting a drink. Yeah. Once again, the best way to process these thoughts is to talk to people about it. And it's a big community out there of people in recovery. They're easy to find. So yeah, if you're having trouble with some of your drinking thoughts, find someone to talk to about it. You'll realize that there's plenty of other people that have gone through exactly the same thing, might even be going through that at the same time. If you talk it over, you'll work it out, you'll move on. It's the best way. Talk to someone. That's all for now. Bye.